because you're going to do right. You have to do right. This right here is not it. My brother died in prison.
Because of the system.
No. Let me stop you right there. It's not because of the system. I remember you coming into this court testifying, making excuses for him when he was not doing what he was supposed to do.
When their son stood before Judge Boyd, these 4 moms stepped in, each with a different story. Some got angry, some made excuses, and some brought the courtroom to silence. This is the top 4 moms who took over Judge Boyd's courtroom. And the last one left everyone speechless.
I'm his mama. I'm on y'all side. What can I do to help you guys to make sure that he's doing what he's got to do?
You might just remove the mask.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, if you can lower your mask and state your name for the record.
My name is Tracy.
All right, and are you his mother?
Yes.
What does he spend his day doing?
Well, just normal, sleeping. He goes and helps me with Ubering.
How does he help you with Ubering?
He delivers the food.
Does he have any friends over?
Not really.
Does he have a
No.
curfew?
Well, he has a GPS on, so he doesn't get to leave. He's just gone from 2 to 10, and then he's at home. I don't really have any. He's different. It's calmer.
Does he help you clean the home?
He does. He cleans his room. That's the most important thing, is keeping his room clean. That's what I care about. Is every kid can clean their own room and wash their own dishes. That's great with me, because that is the most important thing. Is if he can make sure he cleans his room, because I know he doesn't make a lot of the mess that's in the kitchen. It's not him. But when he does, he's very good at cleaning. He's different.
All right, who all is in the household?
So it's me, it's Lonzo, my 3 other kids. My friend comes around once in a while, but he doesn't live there, but he does.
So are the people in the home just his siblings?
Just his siblings. His girlfriend comes, but she doesn't stay. She just
And I'm
comes.
hoping she's not in a bedroom with the door closed with him.
Yes.
Oh, that needs to stop. I don't know how parents do it today, but what I can tell you, in my household, when I was growing up, number 1, there were no boys in bedrooms.
Yeah.
Number 2, they were only in common areas. And number 3, they had to call before they came.
Very
And when my grandmother would babysit me, my aunt had a boyfriend to come over. And you know what ended up happening? He overstayed his welcome. And you know what my grandmother told him? No one is going to come into my home and try to outsit me. And she put him out from the common area. Now, he hung around, and now he and my aunt have been married for like 30 years. So I guess he was like, I'm going to take what your grandmother is dishing out. But he should not be in a bedroom with a door closed with his girlfriend. You know why? Because 1, he's not ready to have a child because he's using marijuana. He has all this criminal history. And any mother who would allow a girlfriend to see someone with the baggage he has when he doesn't have his life in order, I question that mother. And he may end up improving his life, but the way his life stands right now, it's chaos. It's chaos with the GPS. It's chaos because he's looking at 5 years prison, and you have some girl coming over in his bedroom with the door closed. That equals possibility of children. And are you ready to be a grandmother from him?
No, they both take care of themselves to the point where they are
No,
not
no, they
having
don't.
kids.
They're young. And young children tend to do dumb things, whether they have been raised by Mary Poppins or not. They still do dumb things. And I'm just going to be honest with you, right? I don't understand how parents allow children who are not married to come into their home and treat their home, as my grandmother used to say, like a hotel motel. That should not be happening. And you know why? Because it sets a bad example for his siblings. And then your home becomes a hotel motel. The only difference is they don't have to pay for it.
Very true.
So that needs to stop. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So my son passed away. So
How long ago?
it was 4 years ago, but I wanted to do something with my family for his birthday, and that's this Saturday. And I wanted to find out if that would be okay.
Where are you
All
gonna
right.
go?
Vashawn,
We're going to the Live Oak Park.
Okay. Can you make sure that they're allowed to celebrate her? I won't say celebrate, but acknowledge her son's passing, and that he's allowed to attend. So Saturday, if whatever their plans are, he's allowed to attend.
And as far as the monitor, so I completely understand why you want to have the monitor and I'm not. But I will tell you that Alonso's been to a lot of interviews, and so it is very difficult to wear a monitor and people want to give you a job. And so his friend was explaining to him too, because I overheard the phone. And I overheard you say something too, and it made me think about something. Because a lot of people judge something that they don't know the whole story about. And that's an unfortunate thing, because we've been dealing with this for a very long time, and I'm still dealing with this. And this is one of the things that have caused a lot of problems for Alonso.
All right, here's the thing. I understand what you're saying. I'm internalizing it, but I want you to understand something. He needs structure. He doesn't have structure. And I am not trying to question your parenting skills, but this is what I see. Parents are trying to be friends with their children. They're acting like their friends, their children are their friends and adults. You're not technically an adult. You know why? Because you can't take care of yourself. You're living at home with your mother. You're using her home as a hotel room, and she's letting you use it as a hotel room. You've been having issues since you've been a juvenile. We got the resisting arrest and search, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, unauthorized use of a vehicle, failure to identify, another resisting arrest, search and transport. I'm ignoring that because that was taken into taken in consideration. And then you've been to TYC before. And you know what that tells me? That tells me a little bit that, one, you need structure. And mom, you are not his friend, you are his parent. And you need to start laying down the law, because otherwise he's going to end up in prison. And if you violate the conditions that I've set for you, what's going to end up happening is you could be looking at 10 years in prison. Here on out, everything that you do in your life, every decision that you're making, you need to ask yourself, is this something that could result in me going to prison for 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. Because what I can tell you is, and Deputy Laura will tell you, Deputy Mejia and Ms. Abrams will tell you, at some point in time, when people violate conditions in this court, they always end up getting caught. You may not get caught the first time you violate it, but ultimately you end up getting caught, because I'm serious about probation coming out doing field visits. And when they do, and something happens, you know what ends up happening? I receive a motion to revoke. And when I get that motion to revoke, if it's in proper order, I check the box and a warrant is issued. You are picked up by the police and you are taken into custody. And either your mom makes bond for you or she does not. If she doesn't make bond for you, you are brought over in orange after having been at the jail with other inmates, sharing toilets, sharing clothing. And then I hear your motion. And if it turns out that it is true and I find it's true, then you're looking at 10 years in the prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So your mom is allowing you to do things that she should not be allowing you to do. So you're going to have to check yourself. I don't know if that's something that young people still say, but that's what they said when I was growing up. You're going to have to put yourself in check, because Your mom looks at you. Your mom loves you. Your mom looks at you as still as her little boy. You're an adult. So if you love your mom, you're going to have to start doing things appropriately so your mom doesn't have to come to court begging you and not seeing the fact that she has a son who came to court for sentencing and you're using marijuana. And you're probably using it in her house in the form of candy bars or whatever. And you're in the back room with your girlfriend having sex or whatever. And you're going to end up, if you continue on that vein, you guys are going to forget something. And you're going to end up bringing a grandchild into this world for her. And she's going to end up caring for it. And that grandchild is going to be stuck with the father who has all this history, who doesn't have their life in order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So probation will go over conditions with you.
Thank you, Judge. With the excuse.
Yes. Brandon Sierra. All right. And for Mr. Taylor?
William Davis.
All right. And are you Mr. Alonzo Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
His hair was a different color at that time.
You have a good memory.
I try.
I actually wanted to show her something. So,
All right. Can you raise your right hand?
yeah,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
My name is Tracy. Last name is Tejeda.
All right. What do you wish to tell me?
So this has been a long time. I didn't expect for everybody to be here, but I know plenty of parents come here or they don't. My son, I've been going through this for a very long time. And I wanted to show you something where I lost my son and how old he was because of the system.
No.
No.
Let me stop you right there. It's not because of the system. I remember you coming into this court testifying, making excuses for him when he was not doing what he was supposed to do, making excuses for him for why he's testing positive for drugs, making excuses for him for why he doesn't have a job, making excuses for him for why you were letting him be at your house and using your house as a hotel motel. You came in and made excuses for him with that. And I remember specifically telling him that he had better start getting his life together because you were not being of help to him, that you were enabling him. And now you're back before me again, making excuses for his actions. So his being in the system, what does that have to do with him evading?
So I'm not making excuses for Alonzo. What I'm saying, let's say if you had been shot in your knee at 15, or you were accused of something that you didn't do at 13, you end up going into the system. You end up finding friends in the system that you can start believing that they're your friends. He got his fingers broken. Not to mention, I can name several other things that Alonzo's been through mentally that has been very challenging for him since he's been a child, okay? So I don't make excuses, but I do understand when people go through things in their lives, that mentally damages them. So there's a lot that you guys don't know about Alonzo, what he's seen and what he's experienced. And
Well, let me tell no. Let me tell you this. Here's an excuse that you're making, and you made it before. Since you're bringing me into the equation, let me bring myself into the equation as you've done. My mother divorced. When I was young, my brother was young. And guess what? She had rules and we had to follow those rules. There is no way on this planet that my mom ever allowed us to have people in our bedrooms with doors closed, knowing that we are having sex in bedrooms with the doors closed and saying we're going to take care of it. You have done a disservice to him because you've been making excuses. Everybody, I can tell you, everybody in this court has had something traumatic happen to them. Believe it or not, I've had traumatic things happen to me. People think that I just came on this bench and everything was fine and I had this perfect Pollyanna life. That's not my life. But you know what? At a certain point in time, no matter what has happened to you in your past, at some point, the choices you're making are the choices you are making. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, I definitely understand. And I explained that to Alonzo too. And so that's why I explained to him like outpatient mental health.
Oh, no, let me just tell you, let me stop you right there. If I continue him on probation, there is no way he's doing any type of outpatient. And there's no way he's going to be living with you because obviously you are an enabler. You're not a good influence in your life. And I knew when I placed him on probation previously that he should not be living with you, but he had no other choice but to stay with you. I knew that. So I'll own that.
He was 19,
Yeah, and you're enabling him.
but 19 years old.
No, you cannot.
I'm not. I understand what you're stating, but I've come a long way with Alonzo, and he's come a long way. And he's changed a lot.
No, he hasn't.
He has. Yes, he has.
All right, I'm gonna have you step back.
I
Thank you.
understand.
Can you come forward?
Can I talk?
No, you may not. I'm gonna give you a choice.
Can I please talk?
No, I'm gonna give you a choice. Here are your choices. You have two choices. One, I can continue on your probation. You will no longer be living at your mom's house because she's an enabler. She was an enabler when she came here. And she was an enabler last time for you when you had a different hair color. She was an enabler when you kept testing positive for drugs. So one or two things. One, I can continue you, or I can sentence you to 7 years in prison. Which do you prefer?
Continue.
All right. So you're not going to be allowed to live with your mom anymore. I'm going to deny the motion. And the only reason why, well, one of the many reasons why I'm continuing you is because of your age. You're young. I still think you can be saved. I could send you to prison, and you know what would happen at the prison?
Let me say one thing.
No. You know what would end up happening at prison?
Isolated like always.
Oh, no, you wouldn't be isolated. You'd be in general population, and people would be looking at you some kind of way. Prison is not a nice place to be. Prison is not a place where people go and everybody just leave them alone and everybody's being nice to each other. I'm going to deny the motion. I'm going to alter and amend conditions. And that's going to include, he's either probation, he's either going to felony drug court, or he's going to state ISF. And is cognitive local or not?
State ISF is not local at all, Judge.
All right. So,
Their ISF, the local ISF is here in San Diego.
all right, he's going to do state ISF. And he's not allowed to reside with his mom. It's time for you to grow up.
Can I do felony drug court?
Hmm?
Can I do felony drug court?
If felony drug court accepts you, and you had better talk to them and let them know that you want to be in felony drug court. You understand?
No.
You had better start making better choices with your life. Now, do you still want to talk to me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want to say?
I just want to say, my mom's my best friend. My only friend.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my life, she's right. I've been isolated from the word, basically. I'm not really good at talking to people. I never was. Today I might mess up my speech a little bit.
No. I understand.
I made mistakes in my life, a lot of mistakes. Can't really take them back.
Let me just tell you what the problem is. And we're off the record. This is the problem. The problem is parents, they're really not supposed to be your best friend. I don't understand this new age parenting that people have. Parents are supposed to be parents.
I ain't broke with anybody.
No, that's what I'm saying. Guess what? You know who was in my life? My mom. But my mom let me know that she's my mom. We're not girlfriends, right? I know I can go to her. I know I can tell her anything, and I would tell her anything. But there is no way on this earth that I would be calling her by her first name because she was my mother. And we were not best friends. We were not girlfriends. I knew that she was in charge, and that's how it was ran. And I'm only telling you this since your mom wanted to bring me in the equation. Your problem is your mom, with her letting you treat her house like a hotel motel, guess what? That's because y'all are best friends. She's not behaving as a mother. And you are going to have to grow up. And that's why you're not allowed to reside with her, because she's enabling you and she's making excuses. At some point, the choices you make in your life, guess what? Those are your own choices. Because otherwise, everybody in here has some trauma and they can go out, continue to break the law, and they can just come in and say, oh, I only have a single parent. Oh, I got shot. Oh, they kicked me out of school. Oh, I never had anybody to be there for me. Oh, I only have one friend. There are so many excuses that people can have for not doing the right thing. That's going to stop with you today. You understand? No. We're done.
Thank you.
All right. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. You can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Anya Bledsoe?
All right. Is this your son?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. He's saying that he has your permission to live at your home. Is he allowed to live at your home?
Yes, he is.
All right. So he's going to be on GPS. He will only be allowed to go to work, then he has to come home.
Yes, ma'am.
If he violates those conditions, a motion to revoke is going to be filed.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you think your son needs to be successful?
If I tell you,
No, tell me.
you need to listen.
Okay.
That's how I say, your people are the wrong, your choices of the people are the wrong thing in your mind. You can't get over, he was raised the correct way. So what he has done it doesn't make any sense. Following somebody is no good. Be a leader.
Mhm.
That's what I try to teach him. He's a good kid. He really and truly is. It's just like I say, following the wrong, even family. Because I have to cut mine out too.
Mhm.
So he will work. He helps me out with everything. He's a good kid, very mannerable and everything. And not to bring up when he was with you first time, like I told him, you went up there and you let that lady tell you when you shouldn't have even acted like she wasn't talking to you. And I told him, you are to apologize to her. That's the proper thing. That is the proper thing because he wasn't raised like that. I love him to death, but I will. And he has left home before. I told him, you think you're gonna run around here and do what you want to do, get your things and go. I'm not gonna deal with that.
Okay.
So, I spoke with him this time. Yes, he did, my mama do the right thing. Okay, because I will call the police. I will turn him in. I don't have a problem with that because I don't need the headache.
All right. So let me just tell you, I'm going to make sure you give your address to probation because when he's released from custody, that's where he's going to be staying.
Yes, ma'am.
And she will give you the phone number of who his probation officer is going to be.
Yes, ma'am. And I do believe as far as that address thing, on his ID is 522.
Oh, no. Here's the thing. We're going to go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And Judge, regarding the GPS, can
All
we
right.
waive the fees?
Oh, just 1 second. Come back up, Mr. Jones. All right. Oh, don't be bowing your head like you have some kind of shame. Your mother is saving your life. You understand?
Yes,
All right. The court is going to deny the motion, alternate amend conditions to include MRT, ISF upon release, and he's to remain in custody until transferred to ISF cognitive. There's going to be GPS partial for employment only, waive GPS fees, and it's going to be proof of employment within 30 days of release. And you are to reside with your mother until further notice.
That's state ISF, right, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
Probation, is there anything else he needs? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You may think you're an adult, but guess what? You're going to be living in your mom's home. So she has her rules. If she wants the television off at 10, television goes off at 10. If you want to make your own rules, you need to get your own place. And I'm telling you right now, you are not allowed to leave your mother's house or go live somewhere else without the court's permission. Do you understand?
Yes.
Is there anything you do not understand?
ma'am.
Anything else you need from the court to be successful? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you could state your name for the record, please.
Amber Asher.
Defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Asher, good morning.
Or
What is your relationship with Dominic?
he's my oldest son.
Jason. Jason,
Thank you. Your Honor.
you're welcome.
Mr. Turner, I'm sorry. So he's your oldest son.
That's correct.
How many children do you have?
6.
And what do you do for a living, Ms. Asher?
I deliver for Uber.
Like Uber Eats? Okay, thank you. Oh, and just for clarification for the record, we'll need a.
Yes, that's correct.
In the interview that Dominic provided to probation, he had mentioned that he was mostly raised from childhood by his aunt and uncle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you explain to the court how he ended up in the custody of his aunt and uncle?
Due to domestic violence between his father, him and his younger brother were both removed from my custody, and my aunt legally adopted them.
And just so the judge is aware, was this domestic violence? Were you charged with domestic violence? Were you an aggressor in these situations?
No, I was the victim.
Did you feel that because of that circumstances, you felt Dominic would have been safer in the custody of your aunt and uncle?
That's correct.
After he was put into the custody of your aunt and uncle, were you just no longer involved with his life?
I've always been there.
So you've played an active role in his upbringing?
That's correct.
Was Dominic's biological father, was he ever in the picture for him?
No, I think the last time Dominic saw him, he was like 3.
3 years old?
So I'm sorry, I'm confused. So the person that she's saying was abusive to her, is that the defendant's biological father?
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
No,
Could you please describe the judge, Dominic's character? Let's start, I guess, before this incident. And any change or growth in his character that you've seen since he was arrested on these charge.
I would have to say that before he was arrested on this charge, there was like tremendous maturity happening. And I won't say he made a mistake. He made some really bad choices in that time frame. My dad had just passed away like 2 months before that, and a lot was going on with me and him and his younger brother.
His younger brother being Isaiah?
That's correct.
Mhm.
And they kind of just lost their way for a while there. My dad was Dominic's best friend, the one that he always talked to. And then he felt like the one person who was always there for him was gone.
Since he was arrested for this charge, the aggravated robbery charge, how would you describe, I guess, the changes that he's made in his life, improvements, if any?
He started to get his life on track as far as employment, and talked about school, getting his GED, and started to care about where his life was going instead of just being this empty shell every day.
What about any sort of changes in character since learning that he was to become a father?
He's very responsible. He's a great dad as far as I've seen so far. He does everything he can to try to help with the baby.
As far as you're aware, would there be potential issues in terms of raising a child if Dominic is not involved?
Financially, of course, and also she needs her dad.
Obviously, being his mother, knowing him since from birth, any history at all that Dominic had, of aggression or violence or acting out in anger, like was he getting into a lot of fights in school, anything like that?
No,
But you had mentioned your younger son, Isaiah. Thank you. He was mentioned as well in Dominic's interview. Dominic admitted that Isaiah was the shooter in this incident. As far as you're aware, is that correct?
that is correct.
Where is Isaiah now?
He's TDC.
Is it because of this incident that he is there?
That's one of the incidents for the reason why he's there. He had numerous charges.
I know it's tough as a mother to talk about your children in this light, but would you describe Isaiah as being more of a troubled or violent individual compared to Dominic?
He's definitely more of fly off the handle than Dominic. Dominic more level-headed than Isaiah's more rowdy. I don't know how else to explain him. Like,
Could you please explain to the judge why you believe that Dominic is deserving of a chance on deferred adjudication rather than going to prison?
I think that's it right there. Is just a chance. He just needs a chance to not become a statistic of he made a horrible choice and he knows that, and we just ask for mercy, that's all. He has to be accountable for his actions and we understand that.
Is there anything else that you would like to inform the judge? Anything you feel is important for her to know about Dominic?
I just know that his heart's in the right place and his mind's in the right place, and he just needs, he wants to do things right and be a good productive member of society, a good man, a good father, and a good, fiance to his girl. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Pastor Winchell.
All right, state.
Yes, Sean. But are you aware that your son is also accused of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and theft of that motor vehicle on June 23rd, 2021?
That's correct.
Just 1 second. Excuse me, lady in the shirt. Who are you? No, who are you? Are you here? You're a friend? Well, friend, this is not visitation and you're talking to inmates in the box. And let me tell you what the problem with that is. The problem with that, oh, don't give me attitude. The problem with that is the fact that the officers are in charge of security and you're messing with security. So friend of the person in the box, step outside the courtroom. And the friend in the box, this is not visitation. You need to do that at the jail. No. Okay. Yes.
Yes, I am aware that he had those other two charges. One of the charges actually, the vehicle in question was actually stolen by my other son.
So I guess since you brought up your other son, so two of your sons, one being the oldest, and then Isaiah is the next one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So both of them are out car hopping. You know what that means?
Yes.
What does that mean?
They're basically going from car to car, getting whatever they can out of it.
Were they living with you at this time?
No,
Well, you stated that he didn't, the defendant in this case, your son, didn't he come to live with you when he was 17 or 18?
when he turned 18, he did.
Okay, so how old was he when he was committing these felonies? Because he has to be 18 or older, so he was staying with you when he was 18.
I'm sorry, stay just 1 second. Excuse me. Guys, don't approach the coordinator while we're on the record because there's chatter over here. There's chatter in the box. It's making it difficult for me to hear on this very important case, which all the cases are important. and it's making it difficult for the court reporter to hear. All right, so you may continue.
So you're aware that, I mean, when he was committing theft of vehicle or unauthorized use of motor vehicle, he was staying with you, is that right?
At first, he did go back and forth. It wasn't like one day he brought all his stuff and moved in. It was, he came, he stayed the weekend, and then it was, it kind of just solidified into like a permanent thing. Isaiah ended up going back to my aunt's because he didn't have a choice.
So to be fair, I mean, your sons and your children are moving from your house to somebody else's house. You don't know exactly where they are, do you?
I don't agree with that
Okay, so you know where they're at all times?
for the most part.
So on December 25th, going into December 26th, when this aggravated robbery where their shooting happened, you knew where they were on Christmas night?
I didn't know where they were at that time, no.
Okay, so now do you agree with me that you don't know where they're at all times?
Well, I don't think anybody knows where their children are at all times when they're at that age.
On Christmas night?
Well, I do have 4 other kids at home, so yeah, I mean,
But this one child of yours that's over the age of 18 staying with you, and then you also have a juvenile son that was charged with this aggravated robbery that went to TYC for this actual ag robbery. So you didn't
Correct.
know where your juvenile son was that night when he's committing an ag robbery. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I mean, I guess that's correct, but like I
Okay,
said, my
thank you.
aunt has custody of Isaiah and had custody of him at that time.
Okay. And actually, your son in this particular case is actually says that he's gonna return to the aunt and uncle's residence and stay there with his girlfriend, with their, I believe, this young child, the 9-month-old, is that right?
Yes, that's
And
right.
not with you, is that right?
That's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any other questions?
Some follow-up, Your Honor.
Yes.
How old is Dominic today?
20.
20 years old. So at the time that this occurred, roughly around 18 years old. Does that sound right, or is that incorrect?
That's correct.
Were at that time, were you keeping tabs on him at all times? Or was he of the age where he was? Let me rephrase it this way. At 18, is he an adult?
Yes, at 18.
I'm sorry, just to rephrase, at that age of 18, is he considered an adult?
Yes.
No further question.
All right, any other questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
I just have a few questions, if there's no objection.
No objection.
State, Your Honor.
All right, so were your parental rights terminated?
No, I actually relinquished my rights. It was an ongoing CPS case, and they basically told me I had ran out of time. They'd already given me an extension.
So that means that there was a legal case, am I correct?
Yes,
And as a part of that legal case, there were certain things you had to complete.
before I relinquished my rights. That's
No,
correct.
there were certain things that you had to complete because they were giving you a chance to have your children in your custody,
That's
correct?
correct.
So what did you not complete?
I actually didn't complete, well, I didn't maintain my sobriety at that time.
Okay,
So I went into inpatient.
all right. Thank you so much for coming in and giving me some insight into your son. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, call your next witness.
Defense would not call Dominic.
All right, who's the mother on William Harper? Come forward. No, Mr. Harper, you can remain seated. All right, Ms. Harper.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, can you give this to me? I want to explain something to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Take a deep breath.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, calm down. That's okay. All right, just take a deep breath. All right, so this is what I want to explain to
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
And this is just based upon my background, all right? I've been a defense attorney, and I was a defense attorney for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
I was a prosecutor.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes as a defense attorney, you will have a client who has some mental health issues, maybe, right? Or either you have a client who has some intellectual issues, right? So in situations like that, you always want to talk to parents because maybe parents can give you some insight into them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But then other times you have clients who don't have any of those issues. They're adults. They don't have any issues where, oh, I need to talk to your parents because obviously I'm not able to communicate with you.
Yes,
That's not the issue. Now, this is what I know. I know that parents, when they have children, their children are always their babies, right? No matter if they're 25, 30, you always still see them as that little boy or that little girl. And you feel like you need to be there, right? To give your input. What I can tell you is attorneys necessarily don't have to talk to parents or family members. And the reason why they don't is because they're adults, right? And they're in adult court. Now, sometimes we get people here who are 18 and parents want to be 100% in it because they're 18. And even though technically they're adults, they still sometimes are in the child realm as far as the way we see them. So what I can tell you is in this court, I always require defense attorneys to speak to state, defense attorneys to speak with their client. You can see sometimes when people come to me, well, we're just getting a reset. Do we really need to bring that person out? And I'm like, yeah, we need to bring that person out because I want that person to know what's going on with their case. I want them to know that their attorney showed up and their attorney is actually here.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is, if you need to go get a drink of water, you can get a drink of water. Nothing is going to happen with your son's case while you're outside the courtroom.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So take a deep breath. If you need to walk around, and you can come back into the courtroom, okay?
Okay.
All right?
Thank you, Miss Moore.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Mr. Harper,
You're going to speak loud into the microphone. So,
all right, can you raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give? Raise your right hand.
Oh, sorry.
All right, that's okay. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Ebony Eldridge.
All right, make sure you speak up because the court reporter has to hear.
My name is Ebony Eldridge.
All right.
so Miss Eldridge, you are William Harper's mother,
Yes, sir.
and you understand that we are here for what's called a motion to revoke probation. The probation department is asking that Mr. Harper, your son's probation, be revoked. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you also understand that his probation expired over a year ago.
I found that out today, sir.
Yes. And what is it that you would like to tell the judge about William so that she can make her determination as to what she's going to do, whether she's going to terminate him unsatisfactorily or sentence him? Can you address Judge Boyd?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And thank you as well. I would like to say to the court, I'm a mother first, but I'm also a well-abiding citizen, first of all. My son has made some choices because you can say mistakes when they're toddlers because they're learning. As being a late bloomer is what I like to call him, he's still learning. My son, I moved him here to San Antonio. I made the mistake of moving my son here to San Antonio, and I fought myself for that. Because before I moved my son here to San Antonio, my son was headed to the military. My son was in ROTC. My son was scholar in football, headed to college, went to Wayland, came back to San Antonio because of me. I made the mistake in telling my son not to go into the military. And to this day, he still wants to go to the military. And I made that mistake because I was scared. The only reason that I responded the way I responded to you today, sir, is because I'm scared for my son to go to prison. My brother was murdered in prison. So it sits different with me when we talk about prison because my brother was murdered there. My son has made the mistakes that he has made. And I tell you right now that I'm not okay with the things that he has done. I'm not okay with the people that he chose to navigate and put himself with. I'm not okay with that. I'm not even saying dismiss it. I say start it over, make him complete it. Because in my house, we don't finish like that. We don't do it like that. We don't conduct ourselves like that. Because we're not those type of people, and that's not how you was raised. We was raised to do what we were supposed to do. We was raised to finish it out and to walk with our head up because that's the way and that's how God wants us to be. You made the choice. You tied my hands. You tied my hands as your mother, but I'm here begging you, ma'am, to have mercy on my child like Jesus had mercy on us at the cross. I know he's messed up and I know he's not the perfect kid. I know he's done some things, but I even say it to you, ma'am, if you're the probation person, I'll make sure he's there. I'll make sure he does what he has to do. I get that he's an adult, and I experienced that firsthand, being told, I can't talk to you, ma'am, because that's an adult. I experienced it firsthand when I found out that my son had messed up on probation, and I'm calling the probation office. I'm saying, hey, I'm his mama. I'm on y'all side. What can I do to help you guys to make sure that he's doing what he's got to do? And they told me, there's nothing you can do because he's a grown man and we ain't got to talk to you. I hang up and I call back and I say, hey, listen to me, please. Before we even start the conversation, let me pray with you. Because we need God to lead the conversation. Because I need you to understand, I'm not against you, but I want my child to do right. And if it means I got to stand there with him, then I'm willing to do that. Because I don't want my son, I won't throw him away. He's a smart boy. He has things going for him. Do we need a little help? Yes, ma'am, he does. Am I asking the court to help my son? Yes, ma'am, I am. Am I going to do what he won't do? Yes, ma'am, I am. He needs help. He needs it. He wants to help. He wants it. And I tell you, if you give him a chance, you're gonna do right. Or I'll go upside your head myself. Because you're gonna do right. You have to do right. This right here is not it. My brother died in prison. And it pains me. It pains me. I'm tired, baby. You got a 2-year-old daughter. I can't even bring your daughter to see you. I won't bring my granddaughter to sit in a jail to have to see her father. You got a home. And that's where you're supposed to be, helping me raise your daughter. That's where you're supposed to be, her home. But we're here. We're here. We're here. But I won't leave you. I won't leave you. I won't leave you. I just can't leave him,
All right.
but I'll stay.
All right. Any more questions? Defense?
No, Your Honor.
State?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. It's a shame you brought your mom down for here because of your actions.